Once again, hello everyone. This is now my daily outlook for EURUSD as for 9 June Monday 2025. I recently posted my monthly and weekly outlook, so please refer to those firstly before you move on to using this daily outlook, right? Because as you know, the higher time frames are always confluential over the lower time frames. The lower time frames mean nothing as compared to the higher time frames, so it's best to be integrating the lower time frame with the higher time frame. So please refer to the higher time frames first before you move on to the daily. So sure thing. So without taking much of your time, let's move on. So on the daily, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, price has been recently bullish. You can see lows being rejected, highs being broken every single time. Bullish PDRAs being disrespected, like this order block, which was quite valid, disrespected, right? Eventually telling me that price is bullish until now we have reached a certain key level, right, on the weekly, which is the weekly consequent encroachment of this weekly rejection block, which is also an order block on the daily, meaning that I expect higher time frame key levels to be important over the lower time frames key levels, most certainly. And so price has been bullish. You can even see this daily range as well created, and price hasn't balanced this daily range at all. And if I expect price to keep on being bullish, then I expect price to reject the lows before any occurrence of bullish upside expansions, right? And even on the daily, price has recently purged this old short-term or intermediate term high, but it's definitely an old high. And after price purging this very high, you see the creation of a CSD or OB, negative OB, that I would consider to be valid, right? And that's how I would consider to be the reason or the propeller for price towards this draw of liquidity, which I demarcated right there, that short-term low. And so another important thing is this CRT that formed in a weekly key level. So I believe then you can get why even this draw of liquidity that I labeled here is also important. So I'm simply expecting, in terms of my draw of liquidity, to be towards this low on the daily, right? You understand more why if you looked at my weekly outlook and monthly outlook, why I expect price to be heading towards my draw of liquidity on the downside. Then another thing, my bias, my seasonal tendency on euro for June, it's quite choppy, but June usually tends to create lower prices than May. So I'm pretty much bearish in terms of my seasonal tendency. And in terms of my weekly profiles, usually you have to wait for Monday, right? But Monday, if it reaches a key level, you can still expect a reversal, because the market creates the high or low of the week between Sunday to Tuesday. So any time between Sunday and Tuesday, price can create the high end of the week and reverse. So I would say on the daily, your bias should be bearish. You shouldn't be really necessarily anticipating bullish candles on the daily at the moment. Right? Only until maybe price reaches this draw of liquidity. That's when you can start having those kind of anticipations. So my daily is very simple, ladies and gentlemen. It's simple because of my higher time frames that I've been looking at, which are more important, right? The daily just concludes that, nothing more. There's nothing new, nothing less. So Monday most likely to be bearish at the opening, at the low of the candle. If not there, then the consequent encroachment. If not there, then the rejection block, right? Or the mean threshold of the rejection block. That's where you should be looking to see price reverse from. So I've said it. We will then see what price offers. So I'll leave you with the quote that says, most of the time it's waiting, and less of the time it's acting. So we shall wait and see what price abides to. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So as you go down to the 4 hour, the 1 hour, you look for your candle range, you look for your intraday market conditions. You use this daily analysis, right? You use it to integrate it with that. You just don't look for a random 4 hour candle range, but rather you integrate it with this, with everything that I've been able to evaluate on the higher time frames. You simply integrate that with that in order to come up with high probability trade ideas. So anyways, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you found this insightful, and I wish you a profitable week. Thank you.